Broadcasting live from the heart of Lenawee County, Michigan. Sports Talk Radio with a local angle on Inside the Cave. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. on 96.5 FM. We give opinions and analysis on what's happening in the world of sports. Interview area coaches and players and get you ready to start your day.
Sweet, man.
Grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass because it's time to go Inside the Cave. Weekday mornings 7 to 9 on 96.5 The Cave and 965thecave.com.
Hey, we're rocking it out here on a Friday morning. John Roberts, Pat Hayes with you. Wow, that kind of woke me up, John.
There you go.
Ian's really putting in some hard rock music.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's got it going.
He does. Hey, we're going to close out our headlines here. Harold Varner III, Tom Hogue, and Roger Sloan share the clubhouse lead after shooting 8 under 62 for the first round of the PGA's Wyndham Championship in North Carolina. Hogue looked like he might have shot a 59 after he went eagle birdie on the 15th and 16th holes to reach 9 under. There were 33 players on the course when the round was suspended due to bad weather. Can you imagine shooting a 9 under?
Well, I generally do every round, but then I have 5 or 6 more holes to play.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, 59. I mean,
yeah, that's
I get that for 9.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, the NFL won't have any live performances of the national anthem before games this season, as it reportedly attempts to limit the number of people with access to the field to reduce the risk of COVID-19 transmission, according to Front Office Sports. The tradition of having performers sing the national anthem before games has become a source of controversy due to social justice protests. Although the anthem won't be performed live, there will still be a recording of the song played before the game. The NFL could also limit the presence of military and police honor guards on the field. Those groups are often a part of the national anthem ceremony at games. While there may be less ceremony surrounding the national anthem in the NFL in 2020, there will be more in the way of social justice protests and signs of support for anti-racism initiatives, which I think we're going to see a lot of that.
I think we will as well. They're not real surprised at this decision. I think there was something that came out from the NFL back earlier in the summer. They were talking about having fewer media people on the field and even fewer NFL films people on the field. So I think this kind of goes in line. You won't see, marching bands maybe at some stadiums sometimes, or famous music artists performing the anthem along with their band or their entourage or whatever you want to call it these days. So
I'm sure they're probably going to use their jumbotron to take care of some of the stuff that was on the field.
Right.
Their bands or someone, a star or something.
Sure. Well, they could do a recorded performance and show it on the big screen.
For sure. So, a lot of changes coming this year.
Yeah,
because of COVID-19.
I think we'll see it's temporary, but maybe necessary for this year.
All right, let's get back to some of the things that we're going to be talking about here on the show. And one of the things that you brought up to me the other day was the proposal by Purdue University. Their head coach down there put together a program, and we're going to kind of go over it this morning.
Yeah, when I first saw this yesterday, Pat, it's kind of interesting. I think a lot of people, when they hear the term spring football, that there are a couple concerns with that. When does it start? When does it end? And then when would we start the following season? Because I think there's a lot of concern about primarily football players, but really all athletes, because of the collision nature of the sport. To ask, I think, college athletes to play 2 full seasons in a 10 to 12 month span, that's an awful lot to do. And I think you would have heard a lot of people against that. But this plan that came from the coach at Purdue, Jeff Brom, would be an 8-game season for this coming spring, and then a 10-game season for 2021. It would start, practices would start in January, which if you think of the Big Ten, it seems like, they're going to, well, almost, I think every Big Ten school has an indoor facility. I mean, if you've been to the campus here in Michigan or at Michigan State, those indoor facilities are massive. They could play a game in there with no fans.
Taj Mahal's.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't want TV, radio, or fans at a game, you could easily play a game inside those facilities. So they'll practice indoors, obviously, for the month of January, and into February. Games would start the last Saturday in February of next year. So the first couple games would be a little chilly, but I guess, I look at it, in a normal season, the last couple games are generally pretty chilly at Michigan Stadium or Michigan State.
Instead of getting worse as the months go on, it's going to get better.
Right. So, there is that to look forward to. And it would be an 8-game season, no bye weeks. And then they would have 2 weeks off after that to prepare for the postseason. Now, this is for all of college football, if all of college football ends up going to the spring. But I would think it could very easily be, the Pac-12 and Big Ten right now are the only two not playing or not planning on playing. So there's 2 prongs to the you could do a 6-team playoff in his plan if it's all the conferences in Division I, or the Power 5, I guess, or all of Division I even, because you'd have the Power 5 conference champs and a wild card. So you'd have 6 teams. Or plan, as he labels it, Plan A, if it's just the Big Ten and the Pac-12 that are playing this plan, you could do a Big Ten championship and a Pac-12 championship game like they normally do, and then play a quote-unquote Rose Bowl, or have a 4-team playoff to pick 2 from the Big Ten and 2 from the Pac-12 and have their own little playoff. So, then that would basically lead into 3 months off before the players would come back and begin preparing for the 2021 season and game. And that would just be like workouts, like their summer workouts, not full-blown practices. And then in September, they would begin a 4-week training camp. And games would begin October 2nd. And you would play 10 weeks to the second weekend in December. So, again, those end-of-the-year games would be a little maybe chillier than what we're used to. But, Michigan and Ohio State, for example, and it used to be Michigan State and Penn State would play every year, the last game. Those were Thanksgiving weekend anyway, so we're talking 2 more weeks into the calendar. So it seems doable. It seems to take care of the idea of players getting enough downtime between seasons. I'm sure there's some glitches that maybe it's not accounting for. I think one of the big concerns that we've heard about, Pat, is, the star players aren't going to play in the spring because of the NFL draft and, all that kind of stuff. And that may be the case for one season. If this is what we go to have college football, we may not see probably the top 40 star players in the game. If they all feel their first-round draft choices, they may not play and don't want to risk injury that close to an NFL season as rookies.
One of the things I was thinking about from an academic standpoint, usually student athletes, specifically football players, take a lighter load in the fall of the year, and then they take a heavier load in the spring to make up for maybe some classes they did. That's not going to work with players now.
Well, you would think they might almost flip it and take a heavier load this fall and a lighter load in the spring. And then they would come back with a lighter load again next fall and a heavier load in the spring of, I guess it'd be 2022 we'd be talking, wouldn't it?
Well, I hope I'm around then.
You and me both. So, it's an interesting, whether this is, to me, what ends up happening. At least it shows that people are starting to put pencil to paper, so to speak, and sketching out a plan that, okay, what about this? What are the positives and what are the drawbacks, and how do we fix the drawbacks to make it better? And, these are smart people. I know sometimes football coaches get labeled as, not very, but these guys, I'm guessing, are all college graduates.
Oh,
They're pretty good thinkers, especially when it comes to the game that they work in. And
Most
so,
of them have PhDs in
well,
football.
I was going to say, yeah, exactly. I mean, they've spent their whole life, playing and or coaching football. And, I think they're probably the best people to come up with a plan for what's good for the game. I know, we went through that a few years ago here in Michigan with the changes in how teams practice in August. And it really was a lot of hard work by the Coaches Association that came up with that, because they're the ones right there that see the kids and say, this isn't, this maybe was smart or the way to do it at one point, but things have changed and we need to change with the times. And so I'm hopeful that something like this can.
Where does the NCAA stand in all of this?
Well, we don't know, because they, they don't seem to. They seem to be just letting conferences figure it out for themselves, and I'm really starting to wonder what is the purpose, as it's currently functioning, of the NCAA.
Well, yeah. Well, we had specifically Nebraska make some very harsh statements about the Big Ten, and almost like, well, why are we in the Big Ten, and sort of things like that.
I would have been okay if they would have said, "Don't let the door hit you." I'm not a huge fan of what Nebraska brings to the Big Ten. I guess.
Yeah. Not like a Rutgers or a Maryland.
Well, you get some TV markets at least there.
Yeah.
I mean,
the academic
part of it too. And I'm not saying, of course, Nebraska doesn't have its share of things where they have academic excellence, but from a football standpoint, I'm not sure what they've brought so far. Now, maybe they're going to get better, but they haven't exactly been a powerhouse all the time in the Big Ten since they've been in it.
No, they haven't.
I mean, maybe a year or two where they were fairly competitive, or I don't know. They may have even won the West one year. I can't recall. That's how, it's not like a Wisconsin that jumps out from the West and, oh yeah, they're pretty good every year out West.
Well, I remember they were in the Big 12.
Right.
And Tom
Osborne.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a great program.
Perennial
Sure.
winners there. Even in the top 10 of college football.
Yeah.
They were always right there along with Oklahoma. And that was the big game. Nebraska.
Sure.
And,
I think there's some people maybe that would like to see that happen again. They go back to the Big 12 and in Nebraska maybe would love to go back to the Big 12 and see those games happen again, those traditional rivalries that they had. But they're staying in the Big Ten for now, it looks like.
We're going to keep them, I guess, for a little while.
While longer.
Yeah. All right. You're inside the cave this morning. John Roberts and yours truly, Pat Hayes, with you. If you'd like to talk with us about anything about football, whatever sport you want to talk about, you can give us a call here on the studio line, 517-265-4000. I'm not seeing the light go off here, but we're also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I know, John, you like to do a lot of Twitter, and we put out a lot of polls and bring people up to date on Diamond League action and getting some pretty good response in that respect.
Yes, I think a lot of our listeners take part, and maybe even some people from outside our listening area probably chime in. So I try to do one for each Diamond League game, and those have been pretty popular. I'm sure mostly with local people or alumni maybe of the schools that are on Twitter, and so I'll have another one out for our next Diamond League game, which is our last regular season Diamond League game.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Diamond League, but we got to take a break here and pay some bills, but we'll be right back. You're Inside the Cave this morning on this Friday. Pat Hayes and John Roberts. Don't go away.
When trades are made, when records are broken, when championships lay in the balance, we've got you covered. 96.5, The Cave.
You'll hit a home run every time with Hayes Insurance Agency.
Their team of independent agents will cover all the bases
And find you the right policy at the best price.
for your car, your home, your business, whatever you need.
Hayes Insurance, serving residents of Lenawee County and beyond for over a half century.
Call 517-423-8316
Call Hayes Insurance, get all the insurance you need.
or visit hayesins.com. In 1968, Tigers great Jim Northrup hit 2 grand slams in one game.
And ever since, the Hayes Insurance Agency has been hitting grand slams for all its customers in Lenawee County and beyond.
For your car, your home, your farm, your business, count on Hayes Insurance Agency.
On Occidental Highway between Adrian and Tecumseh.
Call 517-423-8316
Call Hayes Insurance, get all the insurance you need.
or visit hayesins.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Nagypel.
And I'm Lisa Waddle, and we're the new owners of Noggle Heating and Cooling.
I've been away for a while, but I'm excited to be back.
That's right. We're thrilled to offer Jim's extensive experience in heating, cooling, and plumbing back to this community.
We'll continue to service all brands of heating and cooling units, but we proudly sell Lennox, and we are your local Carrier dealer.
Please visit us at 1108 West Chicago Boulevard in Tecumseh, or give us a call at 423-3121.
We all know that Salsarias has fantastic authentic Mexican dishes like the signature Baja chicken salad and the queso blanco. What you might not know is they do catering platters for offices, schools, and events that they will deliver. Holy guacamole! Salsarias is open Monday through Saturday at 11 a.m. for inside and patio dining as well as for carryout. Find specials on Facebook. Call 423-0018 to order or come in and enjoy a beverage from their full bar along with a great lunch or dinner in downtown Tecumseh at Salsarias.
As you feel the blades of grass tickle your bare feet, a subtle breeze stirs the green leaves overhead. There you are, sipping a cold drink, admiring the beauty and solitude of your own landscaped backyard. The realization has set in. Calling Sealers Landscape and Design was the best and easiest decision you've ever made. Their 3D design program brought your paradise to life. Now for the tough decision. Where to put the hammock. Call Sealers Landscape and Design at 442-4823 for a free estimate today.
Long Motor Sales in Tecumseh is asking for your help. Please do your part and wear a face mask while you're in public spaces. Do it for the kids, if not for yourself. We want our kids to be able to go back to school this fall. A friendly reminder that you can shop Long's current inventory online at longmotorsales.net.
New to the lot this week at Long Motor Sales. It's a black 2009 Chevy Trailblazer. This spacious SUV is the perfect affordable family car, loaded with four-wheel drive, a towing package, and plenty of space for travel. Priced just right at $6,495. Stop in and tell Eric you want to take this car for a ride today.
If your vehicle needs an oil change or a major overhaul or repair, take it to Long's Automotive Service. Nathan Long has over 15 years of experience as a certified technician, giving you dealership quality service at a low price. Long Motor Sales and Long Automotive Service in Tecumseh. Long, a name you know and trust.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Lenawee County, Michigan. Sports Talk Radio with a local angle on Inside the Cave. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. on 96.5 FM. We give opinions and analysis on what's happening in the world of sports. Interview area coaches and players and get you ready to start your day.
Sweet, man.
Grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass because it's time to go Inside the Cave. Weekday mornings 7 to 9 on 96.5 The Cave and 965thecave.com.
And we are back inside the cave this morning. Pat Hayes and John Roberts with you, talking sports on this Friday morning, and it should be a pretty good weekend, too, I think, weather-wise.
Yes.
Get out there and do some gardening or whatever.
A little yard work.
Yeah.
Maybe play a little golf, Pat.
My grass is a little bit dormant right now. But,
yeah.
We had that rain earlier this week, kind of brought it back to life.
We had patches where the grass was much higher than the rest of the lawn.
Yeah. Golf courses are looking in pretty good shape.
They are. I had a chance to go out and play last night and the day before, actually. So a couple local courses, and they look nice and good shape, and quite a few people out playing, actually. So that was good to see.
Yeah, I know. I play out at Wolf Creek, and they've had
a good summer.
Good summer.
Yep.
A lot of play out there, and
Yep.
keeping the course up really nice, and it's always great to get out. We want to get back to a subject that we were talking about earlier, and that is Clinton Community Schools. They had a situation over there with COVID-19, and boy, that's a tough thing to address.
It is, because you don't want to, you're kind of caught in the middle of, you don't want to overreact, but you certainly don't want to underreact either. And anytime, having been in schools, you deal with illnesses in school and spreading among kids a lot. And so you always have to be sensitive to that, whether it's your student body or your athletic program. And we've seen games canceled or postponed over the years because a team, 10 guys on the basketball team all have the flu, or 10 girls on the volleyball team all have the chicken pox or something, so it happens from time to time. It just seems with this, we've seen, and you read the list in the update of various schools that, not just football, but maybe their whole summer athletic program got shut down for a little bit. And, I don't think this will be the last one, but it certainly, impacts Clinton, but it also impacts all the schools, on their schedule. And right now it seems like it's contained to the football program, but
that's a real domino effect.
It potentially could, and it's good to see that they feel they're able to go on with the other sports this fall and continuing to let those kids work. But those are again, smart people that care about kids, at Clinton, and they're going to keep an eye on things, and they're going to do what's best for their athletes. But as I mentioned, if you have to, say, quarantine a chunk of your players for a couple weeks, I mean, you may not get those kids back till either the week of the first game or after the first game in terms of the football season. So
you think, say a team, a couple of players come down with COVID, they have to quarantine, and they just shut the program down for a couple of weeks. Do you think, if they miss a game or two, could they possibly come back in week 3 and 4, or is it going to be a blanket thing where we're going to shut it down completely, we're done?
Well, and I think that's the question that nobody outside of, say, the MHSAA, at least at this point, knows. What's the threshold? At what point do we say this isn't worth it anymore? Is it, there's 600-700 high schools that play sports in the state of Michigan. Is it 100 schools? Is it 50 schools? Is it, I know last year, one of the big things that I remember, Mark Ewell, the MHSAA director, talking about on the huge show on our network, or our station, they found it hard to comprehend the idea of, because in some parts of the state, cases were less than other parts of the state, and the MHSAA didn't feel comfortable running a state tournament with various regions of the state not being able to participate in the state tournament and have someone be called a state champion when not all the eligible schools could participate. And it was a large number of schools that wouldn't have been able to participate. So I don't know what the level, and there may be, and I think we're seeing already some local school districts are saying, you know what, we're going to postpone this, all our athletics for a period. Now it might be a couple weeks, and that may lead you to playing, for example, in football, less than 9 games. And I don't. What does that do? If the playoffs are your focus, if we get that far, what does that do to your playoff chances? Well, it might keep you out of the playoffs for a year, but in the end, if you've got a bunch of kids that are ill or not 100%, maybe that should be the focus. Getting kids healthy and
it's a balancing act.
Sure.
With these schools, you look at the health of the student and you look at athletic competition.
Sure.
And it's a real gray area in between there where, when do we or when should we? And I'm sure a lot of school districts, are making the call, based on the information they have and trying to make the best decision.
Well, I think that's all you can do, Pat. This is our situation as a school. It may be different from school B down the road, but this is where we're at in our school, in our community, and we have to do what's best for those kids. And in turn, it's going to protect your kids because we know this is a virus that can spread. Now, we don't see a lot of, for now or up to this point, we haven't seen high numbers with, say, high school age kids. When kids all go back to school, are we going to see an increase in those numbers? Probably some people would say it's only mathematically sound that that's what's going to happen. Others are going to say, their immune systems are better and probably able to handle not contracting it. And so we don't know yet. We're going back to school and we're making some, we're doing it based on some assumptions, based on some data, and we're going to try and make the best of it. That's, I think, what every school system is going to do, and this is our plan.
Yesterday, listening to CBS Sports, listening to John Jansen, he was on talking about football in general and the pandemic, and they brought up a new monkey wrench that's kind of been thrown into this whole situation. There had been some tests by some of these universities and some hypothesis. This coronavirus could injure the heart muscles. And they're really taking a close look at that to see if that indeed is the case. So, as you say, it's such an unknown. Who knows what other things they're going to come up with that may affect the body in certain ways.
Right, and I think one of the things that I had heard about that also, and I think the concern is there's just not enough data yet to make that this will happen kind of thing. But there are some limited cases out there of it, and at what point do the risks of athletic competition become greater than the rewards? And I think that's a question that, coaches and athletic directors and certainly parents, especially of high school students, need to ask themselves, a lot during this time.
Exactly. Hey, before we run out of time, we got to talk Diamond League.
Yes.
For a couple of minutes. We have a crucial game coming up tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. The Morenci Bulldogs take on the Hudson Tigers, and both teams with playoff implications.
Yeah, we see Morenci still in contention for the Cave Division title.
Madison won last
night.
Which gives them 5 wins.
Right, so they're in first place by a half game right now. Now, if Morenci were to defeat Hudson, there would be a tie for first place, and we're going to have to figure out the tiebreakers, who wins that division and automatically qualifies for the playoffs. Hudson with a win would be 5-3, and then we'd probably have to look at tiebreakers for a wild card.
We're going to have probably at least 3, maybe 3 teams with 5-3 records. One of them
Either Madison or Morenci would be a 1-5-3.
Onstead is also finished the season with 5-3, so they're in the
right
hunt.
in the hunt too.
So, wow, this has been quite a year for Diamond League. First year that we've had virtual games here on 96.5 The Cave, and it's really been interesting and a lot of close games. We haven't had a no-hitter yet.
No, that one hasn't happened.
But we've had inside the park home runs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And some unassisted double plays, a lot of those.
Yeah, no triple plays.
No, we didn't see a triple play. But interesting games that we've had, a lot of close games. And, the only team that really surprised us was Blissfield.
Yeah.
They were 0-7 for the longest time and then got their first win on the last game of the season. They defeated Tecumseh 1-0. Of course, Tecumseh had already clinched.
Yes. Tecumseh and Clinton have clinched their division titles, so they're already in the playoffs. And we're really using these last few games, Pat, just to kind of sort out who the rest of the pieces to the puzzle are.
And, of course, the playoffs start next Tuesday.
Yep.
And it'll be the number 1 seed versus the number 4. And then we'll have number 2 versus 3 seed.
That would be Wednesday.
Yep. And then they'll play Saturday for the championship. We'll have a Thursday game. Will be a consolation game.
Right. The two teams that are not successful on Tuesday and Wednesday will give them an additional game to play for third place overall.
Should be a great championship run by one of these teams, and you can hear it all right here on 96.5 The Cave next week. Right after the huge show at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and our Saturday game is at 2 o'clock here on The Cave Saturday, so join us for that.
There you go.
Hey, first hour is gone. Stay tuned. We'll have hour number 2 coming up shortly. You're Inside the Cave with Pat Hayes, John Roberts.
We are so grateful to our local heroes, those serving our community every day, to the people working at our grocery stores. We are encouraged by your bravery as you keep our homes stocked with food. To our first responders, how we are grateful for your courage when you come to the need of our community. To our medical personnel and their support teams, working on the front lines to combat this deadly virus. Words are not enough to express our gratitude. So as a community, let us join together while keeping appropriate social distancing and tell our local heroes how much we love and appreciate their sacrifice and the sacrifices of their loved ones. May God's mighty hand protect and guide each of you during these uncertain times.
This message is brought to you by 3-Dimensional Physical Therapy, 3DPT, because people matter.
The Springs BP on West US 223 near Onstead Highway is your locally owned one-stop convenience store. The Springs BP Beer Cave is fully stocked and has a huge selection of craft beer along with all of the standards. If you're looking for something a little different, they have a variety of prepared cocktails and drink mixes plus state minimum prices on their huge selection of liquor. The Springs BP also has propane tank exchanges, fishing licenses, and bait. So if you're headed to the lake for the weekend or just heading home, make sure you stop and shop at the Springs BP.
Homeschooling means more than learning at home. It means you, the parent, are the teacher, pick the curriculum, and report to the state. When you enroll your K-12 students in Tecumseh Virtual Academy, you are assured classes are aligned with state requirements and your child is supported by TPS staff members. The TVA gives students the flexibility to learn anywhere, anytime, and at their ability level. With equipment and our experienced support staff provided, we invite you to contact Tecumseh Virtual Academy to explore your students' options. Go to TVA Tecumseh online or find our link on WLEN.com.
ProMed Uniform is celebrating 25 years of business. ProMed Uniform's commitment to Lenawee County's healthcare, EMS, police, and fire personnel has always been a top priority. On sale now, in-stock 511 tactical pants 10% off. ProMed has an extensive inventory of medical scrubs, Barco, Grey's Anatomy, and Wonder Wing all in stock. All scrubs are currently 20% off their already low prices. ProMed Uniform will match or beat any competitor's price, including websites or catalogs. Medical, fire, EMS, and restaurant attire. Check them out on Facebook and at 937 West Beecher in Adrian.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Lenawee County, Michigan. Sports Talk Radio with a local angle on Inside the Cave. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. on 96.5 FM. We give opinions and analysis on what's happening in the world of sports. Interview area coaches and players and get you ready to start your day.
Sweet, man.
Grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass because it's time to go Inside the Cave. Weekday mornings 7 to 9 on 96.5 The Cave and 965thecave.com.
The best in regional sports from Southeast Michigan. WLEN Adrian, HD2, W243AD, 96.5 The Cave.
96.5 The Cave. Lenawee County Sports. Broadcasting live from the heart of Lenawee County, Michigan. This is Inside the Cave on 96.5 FM and 965thecave.com. Sports Talk Radio with a local angle, where we give opinions and analysis on what's happening in the world of sports, interview area coaches and players, and get you ready to start your day.
Good morning.
Now grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass because it's time to go Inside the Cave.
And you're Inside the Cave this morning, hour number 2. Pat Hayes along with John Roberts. Glad you could join us this morning.
That's a pretty good one.
If you would like to give us a call here on the studio line, do that. It's 517-265-4000. And we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. So give us a call or send us an email. sports@965thecave.com. We're in the second hour.
Probably our best 60-minute performance of the year.
There we go. We're going to try to make this the second best 60
There
minutes.
you go.
And I guess before I forget about it.
Now for an Inside the Cave sports update.
And we turn it over to John Roberts.
Thanks, Pat. If we do have a high school football season, the Adrian Maples look to open the season with 2 interesting matchups. Cave Sports got that word from Adrian Maple coach Chris Gilliam.
Well, if everything goes as scheduled, we are supposed to open with Adrian Madison. I believe it's the first time the schools have ever played each other. So that will be exciting for the community, but unless things change, not many people will get to see that game. And then we'll have Tecumseh in week 2. So arguably the 2 rivalry games, the 2 games that most people have probably been always looking forward to seeing. If they happen, there probably won't be many fans at it based on the current state of this pandemic.
That's Adrian Maples football coach Chris Gilliam. Clinton Community Schools announced Wednesday that it will temporarily postpone all football-related activities after authorities were informed of a positive COVID-19 test result from a student-athlete. According to MLive.com, the school had no choice but to shut down football practice for the week and revisit the situation over the weekend. However, the limited exposure the athlete had to other athletic teams gave the school enough confidence to proceed with other fall sports practices. The district is working closely with the Lenawee County Health Department to conduct contact tracing for the purpose of identifying all individuals who may have been in close contact with the COVID-19 positive student. Those individuals will be contacted personally by someone from the health department with additional guidance. The case at Clinton follows similar situations at Ferndale, Utica Eisenhower, Utica Ford, Utica High, and Birmingham Seaholm earlier this week. Throughout the summer, athletic events were canceled at schools such as Clarkston, Rochester Adams, Dearborn High, and Brooklyn Columbia Central, Portage Northern, Portage Central, South Lyon, Richmond, and Ann Arbor Huron. So we will continue to monitor that situation here locally with Clinton. Major college football will be the only championship decided by the NCAA, and the prospect of holding that still hangs in the balance. The NCAA has called off all fall championship events except for major college football because of the limited number of schools competing in sports such as men's and women's soccer and women's volleyball during the first semester. The decision comes after the Big Sky, the West Coast, and Southern Conferences announced Thursday that they are the latest Division I leagues to postpone their fall sports schedule. Moving fall sports to the spring still must go through the Division I Council, which is comprised of representatives of all 32 conferences. It also would need approval by the D1 Board of Directors. So what does the future look like for Big Ten football, college football in general? ESPN's Heather Dinich says it's cloudy at best.
Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren told me this week that he doesn't know what it's going to look like. He echoed the thoughts of Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott, which says that there's a lot of work to do. Everyone has to remember that the commissioner's focus to this point has been getting their student athletes back on campus in a safe environment to be able to get on the field to the point where they were on Friday. No one was thinking about the spring until a skinny minute ago. So they have to get together a 12-month plan that protects the student athletes in terms of going right into the next season.
If college football is indeed moved from fall to spring, it's going to be a short season.
I mean, in May, it's freezing in Minneapolis, right? So that's certainly a logistical concern. I went to school in the Big Ten too, and it's cold. So there are a lot of issues, but the health and safety of these players and the turnaround time. Look, everyone I've talked to about the potential of a spring has said, at the very least, the season must be shortened because we can't forget about 2021.
That's ESPN's Heather Dinich. The Michigan State Spartans basketball program keeps adding big-time recruits. MSU gained a commitment from 4-star 6'3" point guard Jaden Akins of Farmington High School. He is the 5th player in the top 70 of the 24/7 Sports composite rankings to commit to the Spartans this summer. Akins chose Michigan State over a group of finalists that included Michigan, DePaul, Florida, Northwestern, and Mississippi State. So
I think Tom Izzo is serious about another national
I
championship.
think he's giving himself a lot of ammunition. That is for sure.
Loaded.
That's quite a recruiting group of players that they've hauled in the last 3-4 months.
Locally, Imani Bates. Has committed. And, of course, he's going to his own school now.
He is, the Ipsy Prep Academy. So, it'll be a interesting time. And, of course, once they get them all signed, the high hopes for the Spartans, that's for sure. Continued high hopes for the Spartans.
Yes, absolutely.
The Detroit Tigers were supposed to play the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday, but it was, of course, postponed because the Cards team has been shut down because of COVID-19. The Tigers open a series today against the Indians. Ivan Nova is set to start for Detroit, and he is 1-0 on the season. However, the Tigers were 1-18 against Cleveland last year.
Wow.
So, new year. We're going to change that around.
And we're still worried about C.J. Cron, that knee injury.
Yeah.
It sounds like he might have to have surgery.
Yeah. Hopefully he can play through it and put that surgery off till the end of the year, I think is what he's hoping to do. And he's been a big addition to the Tigers this year. A proven bat in the lineup and, fairly decent play at first base so far as well.
Yeah, it says here that damaged knee ligament and dislocated kneecap, and as you said, eventually will need surgery.
I'm guessing there'll be some kind of brace to hold that all in place, and he'll do what he can on it.
Yeah,
and,
he's very positive that he can work with it.
Okay, well that's good news. And then in the off season he'll have knee surgery. It sounds like We'll see. Speaking of the Cardinals, their series opener against the White Sox has been postponed to Saturday, giving the Redbirds an extra day to recover from a coronavirus outbreak. The Cardinals, who haven't played since July 29th and were set to resume their season Friday night in Chicago. The Twins in the American League Central have a 1.5 lead over the Tigers and 2 over the White Sox and Cleveland. Kansas City right now is at the bottom, 4 games out. So we talked about it earlier, Pat. The Tigers really have kind of exceeded so far people's expectations, I would guess. I can't imagine many people figured they'd be in second place at this point in the season.
Well, I think there's some players that have stepped up, and C.J. Cron was one of those.
Sure.
He became an everyday player, and when he went out, boy, they were very concerned about that, of course. Candelaria came over to take his spot over at first base, but they have to shift a few players around now, and maybe some bench players are going to get some playing time.
A little chance to prove themselves, and maybe if it goes on too long, we may see Spencer Torkelson, the top draft pick, come up and play.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Casey Mize to come up too.
Yeah.
And I think that's coming, but
I think we'll see a few of those guys at some point this season. Yes.
Well, if the Tigers, are playing 500 ball toward the end of the 60-game season, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a tough one because with the expanded playoffs, if you're playing 500 baseball, you are probably right in the playoff picture. Yeah. And do you go with the guys that got you there, or do you bring up those young kids? It'll be interesting to see that the Tigers, the longer they're competitive in this playoff race, they'll have some interesting decisions to make. That's for sure. That's what they get paid the big bucks for. A historic night for the new guy in L.A. Los Angeles Dodgers outfielder Mookie Betts has joined Johnny Mize and Sammy Sosa as the only players to homer 3 times in 6 different games. Betts was 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs in the Dodgers' 11-2 pounding of the San Diego Padres.
Johnny Mize, that's an old name. I wonder when he played.
Well,
I think look that up.
I think that might be a little bit before my time, Pat.
Oh, and my time too.
Yeah, so certainly saw Sammy Sosa play, but I know I never saw Johnny Mize play, but certainly have heard of him. One of the exceptional players in the history of baseball. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer or not, but
I'm going to look it up.
A lot of good seasons out of Johnny Mize, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And like I said, you and I both saw Sammy Sosa play.
Well, it says here, 1948, Johnny Mize number 4 baseball card here.
Oh, so
he was a first baseman.
Yeah.
Left-hand throw. Let's see here.
Doing our deep dive on Johnny Mize here this morning. Yeah.
Let's see. Throws. Oh, no, he throws right. Born January 7th, 1913 in Georgia. He had 2,011 hits, 359 home runs, lifetime batting average of .312.
Not bad.
So it gives all his statistics here, and 1948. That was about the time he was playing.
Okay, so late 40s, probably through the 50s, maybe into the early 60s, but before my time.
I'll look some more here.
Yeah, there you go. The NHL playoffs, shifting gears. It took the Columbus Blue Jackets a while to get going following their 5 overtime loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they put it together last night. The Stanley Cup first-round series is tied at a game apiece. Columbus with a 3-1 win over the Lightning, and Blue Jackets' Alexander Wenberg with a key goal. In other Stanley Cup first-round action, Dougie Hamilton broke a 2-2 stalemate midway through the third period to give the Carolina Hurricanes a 3-2 win over the Boston Bruins, evening that series at a game apiece. The Vegas Golden Knights squandered leads of 2-0 and 3-2 before Riley Smith scored 7 minutes and 13 seconds into overtime to give them a 4-3 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. In the NFL, All-Pro George Kittle has agreed to a 5-year, $75 million extension with the San Francisco 49ers, a record for tight ends. According to overthecap.com, the previous high for annual value on a multi-year contract for a tight end was the 4-year, $42 million deal Austin Hooper signed this offseason in Cleveland. Kittle had been one of the NFL's biggest bargains after being drafted in the 5th round in 2017. In other NFL news, the Chiefs and star tight end Travis Kelce have agreed to a 4-year, $57.25 million contract extension that will keep him with the Super Bowl champions through 2025. The Bills are protecting quarterback Josh Allen's blind side for the long term after signing left tackle Dion Dawkins to a 4-year, $60 million contract extension. The team announced the signing while a person with direct knowledge of the contract provided the value of the deal to the Associated Press. Dawkins has been a starter in Buffalo since being selected in the 2nd round of the 2017 draft out of Temple. So some tight ends making some big bucks.
Big bucks.
That makes me happy as a former tight end when I played football. Good to see those guys get paid.
Too, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So good to see those guys get paid. Very underrated position, in my opinion. A group of senators led by Cory Booker of New Jersey and Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut has released a plan for reforming college sports with an athlete's Bill of Rights. It calls for college athletes to have the ability to earn money for their names, images, and likenesses with minimal restrictions. The senators also want to ensure for the athletes' long-term medical coverage and treatment, enforceable medical standards, academic freedom, and revenue-sharing agreements. The NCAA is in the process of changing its rules to permit athletes to earn money off their names, images, and likenesses for things like endorsements and appearances. The association has asked for help from Congress to relieve pressure from state lawmakers.
Long time coming here, getting paid for what you do.
I think so. I think it's a thing that's been building momentum for, a decade at least. Probably now. And I think that we're going to see probably by next school year at the latest that some plans are going to be in place and college athletes are going to be able to earn a little money for their face and their, picture, and could show up at some business and sign autographs and get a little money for that. So
we were, last hour, we were talking about Congress getting involved with this. Boy, I don't see it. More government intervention.
Yeah, you would think that I think probably they're involved so that there's a uniform standard for these things, but it just seems like the NCAA could have done that, and they, state lawmakers, well, that's the job of the NCAA, is to make that happen.
Where are you, NCAA?
Yeah.
Hey, we got to take a break here quick. We've got some more headlines to talk about. I've got all the information you want to know about Johnny Mize.
Awesome.
Just a second. So you're inside the cave this morning. John Roberts and Pat Hayes, don't go away. We'll be right back.
96.5 The Cave, Lenawee County Sports.
You'll hit a home run every time with Hayes Insurance Agency.
Their team of independent agents will cover all the bases
and find you the right policy at the best price.
For your car, your home, your business, whatever you need.
Hayes Insurance, serving residents of Lenawee County and beyond for over a half-century.
Call 517-423-8316.
Call Hayes Insurance, get all the insurance you need.
Or visit HayesINS.com. In 1968, Tigers great Jim Northrup hit 2 grand slams in one game.
And ever since, the Hayes Insurance Agency has been hitting grand slams for all its customers in Lenawee County and beyond.
For your car, your home, your farm, your business, count on Hayes Insurance Agency.
On Occidental Highway between Adrian and Tecumseh.
Call 517-423-8316.
Call Hayes Insurance, get all the insurance you need.
Or visit HayesINS.com.
Even though school buildings are closed statewide for the remainder of the school year, the Lenawee Intermediate School District has been hard at work developing and implementing a continuity of learning plan for our students. This is a unique challenge, and LISD instructors and support staff have worked diligently to provide a variety of distance learning options to best suit the needs of each student. The LISD appreciates your patience and understanding as we learn together how best to serve Lenawee students during this unprecedented time. To view our learning plan and the latest COVID-19 updates, visit lisd.us/COVID19.
I found us a place that wants to hire a few good employees. That's us.
Wait, does it pay well?
It does. And we can get meals and discounts on all kinds of things. The hours are flexible. They even offer scholarships, insurance, and a retirement plan.
Sounds too good to be true.
Nope, it's true.
McDonald's offers a wide variety of job and career opportunities from crew member to management. We're hiring for both our North and South Main locations in Adrian and at our Hudson Meridian Road McDonald's.
Hi, this is Dennis from Abbey Carpet and Floor, and it's easier than ever to tap into the convenience of smart home technology during the Hunter Douglas Smart Shade Savings Event that's going on now through September 7th. Enjoy valuable rebates starting at $150 on qualifying purchases of Hunter Douglas motorized shades like insulating duet honeycomb shades or dramatic pirouette window shades or the revolutionary Sonnet cellular roller shades, all equipped with the advanced wireless technology of PowerView motorization. Using this smart technology, the associated smart hub, and the mobile devices you use every day, you can easily program your motorized shades to move automatically to the scenes and schedules you set. Plus, PowerView integrates easily with some of the most popular home automation systems, intelligent shades, and smart savings. Connect with rebates now through September 7th. Limitations and restrictions apply, so ask us for details. Abbey Carpet and Floor, America's choice in floor fashion since 1958.
Are your floors screaming for a makeover? If so, O'Connor & Sons Floor Covering in Tecumseh, with their combined 160 years of experience, wants to help. O'Connor & Sons sell and install many styles of floor covering. They have the area's largest selection of luxury vinyl tile and planks, which are completely waterproof. O'Connor & Sons also carries Cali Bamboo, which are the world's hardest floors. Pet problems? No worries. They have pet-proof carpet that is guaranteed against all pet stains. O'Connor & Sons Floor Covering on Russell Road in Tecumseh. Call them at 423-6170, or for more information, check them out on Facebook at O'Connor & Sons Flooring.
I have a theory why people love Culver's chicken tenders, and it's not just because they go great with an ice-cold Pepsi. First, it's the quality of our chicken. These are thicker, bursting with more flavor, whole white meat chicken tenders. The difference is, Culver's chicken is raised with the best feed in a comfortable environment. Next, you can have them any way you want. Try original or go buffalo, then get the dipping with your favorite sauces.
It's not theory, it's fact. Culver's Original and Buffalo Chicken Tenders are perfect with a Pepsi. Welcome to delicious.
It's summertime. It's hot, dusty, and dirty, and your car needs to be washed. Where do you go? Imagine a crystal palace with a runway where your car glides through a series of steps and your pride and joy is blown dry by angel wings. Okay, maybe that's a bit too much, but Sudsy Does a Car Wash does bless your vehicle with the highest quality of solutions and equipment to lift your car to a higher level of clean. We know you want your car to look great, so try Sudsy Does a Car Wash in Tecumseh.
Sudsy Does a Car Wash, Gary's Quick Lube too.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Lenawee County, Michigan. Sports Talk Radio with a local angle on Inside the Cave. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. on 96.5 FM. We give opinions and analysis on what's happening in the world of sports. Interview area coaches and players. And get you ready to start your day.
Sweet, man.
Grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass because it's time to go Inside the Cave. Weekday mornings 7 to 9 on 96.5 The Cave and 965thecave.com.
And we are back inside the cave here on a Friday morning. Glad you could join us here on 96.5 The Cave. John Roberts and Pat Hayes, your hosts this morning. And we'd love to talk to you. Give us a call if you'd like to talk sports, 265-4000. That's our number to call. And John, you need to finish up a few more stories here in the headlines.
Just a couple more items from the world of sports, Pat. Harold Varner III, Tom Hogue, and Roger Sloan share the clubhouse lead after shooting an 8-under 62 in the first round of the PGA's Wyndham Championship in North Carolina. Yeah, one guy does it, but three. It's a pretty good day for those three. Hogue looked like he might have shot a 59 after he went eagle birdie on the 15th and 16th holes to reach 9 under. There were 33 players on the course when the round was suspended due to bad weather. I would imagine they'll complete that this morning.
Yeah.
And
How many times have you set yourself up for an eagle?
Not very often. Not very often.
had one.
Birdie, yes.
I had an eagle putt on number 9 at Wolf Creek.
Okay.
I drove the green. It's a par 4.
Yep.
Drove the green, and I ended up 3-putting.
Yeah, that often happens. Yeah, that's the one that I've probably come closest to would be at Wolf Creek, and it's number 7, the par 5 that
the dogleg
just
left.
happened to hit one out
Over the
towards
trees?
out towards the hill, and then just hit an amazing second shot that about 6 feet from the hole, and of course I didn't make the eagle putt for 3, but
I know I was lying 3 the other day, just off the green, and I got a 6 on it.
Yeah. Just when you think it's a humbling game, isn't it, Pat?
Putting and chipping. That's
chipping.
my weakness.
Putt for dough, right?
Yeah, there you go. Not me.
Yeah. And finally, the NFL won't have any live performances of the national anthem before games this season, as it reportedly attempts to limit the number of people with access to the field to reduce the risk of COVID-19 transmission, according to Front Office Sports. The tradition of having performers sing the national anthem before games has become a source of controversy due to social justice protests. Although the anthem won't be performed live, there will still be recordings of the song played before the game. The NFL could also limit the presence of military and police honor guards on the field. Those groups are often part of the national anthem ceremony at games. While there may be less ceremony surrounding the national anthem in the NFL in 2020, there will be more in the way of social justice protests and signs of support for anti-racism initiatives. And that's
I think
the
we're
update.
gonna be a lot of that. Yeah, a lot of that coming.
Yeah. That's our update for the second half of the show.
Wow.
Pat?
That took us a while.
Took us a while.
Steve's doing the job for us.
Still always a lot happening in the world of sports.
Absolutely. And we love to talk to you if you've had a subject that we haven't talked about. Give us a call here on the studio line, 517-265-4000, or tweet us. John Roberts will.
There you go. I'll
probably
respond.
pick it up. Yeah, for sure.
I know you got your Johnny Mize stuff, but this just popped up on my screen. Magic Johnson, 61 years old today.
Wow. 61.
61.
I
Magic
remember when he
Johnson.
played at
Adrian High.
Yeah, well, he playing for Lansing Everett.
Right. Yeah, Everett. Yeah. 61 years old. Wow.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Mize.
Go
were
ahead,
talking
yes.
about him. You know what his nickname was?
I do not.
Well, he had 2.
Okay.
One was called the Big Cat.
Okay.
And Big John.
Big John.
And, of course, he was an American League professional baseball player, coach, and scout. He played first base in the major leagues for 15 seasons between 1936 and 1953, losing 3 seasons to military service during World War II. Mize was a 10-time All-Star.
Wow.
Who played for the St. Louis Cardinals, New York Giants, and the New York Yankees. During his tenure with the Yankees, the team won 5 consecutive World Series. And he passed away at the age of 80 in 1993 in Demarest, Georgia. That's where his hometown was. His debut in the major leagues was April 16th of 1936. The last ball game was on September 26, 1953 with the Yankees. Lifetime batting average, .312, 2,011 hits, 359 home runs. Runs batted in, 1,337. As we said, he played for the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Yankees. 10-time All-Star. 5-time World Series champion. National League batting champion. 4-time National League home run leader. 3-time National League RBI leader. And is in the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame. Johnny Mize.
Yeah. pretty distinguished career there.
Very distinguished career.
Yeah.
All right, where do we go here? We're going to talk more football?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's
That's
getting to be that time of year here.
Our subject of choice this morning.
Yes.
And, of course, we talked in our first hour about the Purdue plan for coming up with the spring football. And maybe we can run over that again.
Well, pull it up here real quick. Just have to find it. And also, I'm starting to read something about, Pat, a plan that may have the not the Big Ten, the NFL's blessing, which also has been a concern with the spring football, is how it will coordinate with the draft and the combines and all that kind of stuff that normally happen in February and March and April. So interesting. The basic outline of the Purdue plan is the spring season would be 8 games, followed by a 10-game fall season in 2021. Workouts would begin in January of 2021, and then at the end of January, there would be a 4-week training camp, 5 days a week, and games would begin at the end of February. February 27th is the actual date, which is a Saturday, and then they would play 8 games between then and Saturday, April 17th. There would be, for the teams that would qualify for a postseason, there would be 2 weeks of preparation, so a 2-week break. If you're not in the playoff or postseason, your season would be finished in mid-April. So, which is really when a lot of colleges are starting to wrap up their academic year as well, the late April, early May. So the playoff would then take place beginning on Saturday, May 1st and go through Saturday, May 15th. And there's a couple ideas out there whether this would be, if this is just a Big Ten plan, or if this would be a Division I wide, if all the conferences end up moving their thing to the spring, their season to the spring. You could potentially have just a Big Ten championship playoff with maybe the top 3 or 4 schools in the Big Ten. You could do, if it's all of Division I college football, you could have a 6-team playoff where the Power 5 conference champions plus a wild card would be in a 3-week playoff to crown a champion. So a couple things there. And then from April 18th to July 18th, there would be 3 months off, no mandatory workouts during that time. So if the players wanted to get together on their own and, throw the football around or work out or whatever, that would be then. Then on Monday, July 19th, 8 hours per week of summer workouts. These would be organized, no pads, obviously, at this time, but helmets and, they could just run around and condition. And then September 4th would be, again, a 4-week training camp, and the 10-game season for 2021 would run from October 2nd through Saturday, December 11th, and then the playoffs would begin in January, on Saturday, January 1st, and go through Saturday, January 15th. So if that plan were to happen, everything would be done in the 2022 or 21 season in time for the NFL calendar. However, the 2021 season, there would be some conflicts with the current NFL calendar under this plan. So,
well, I was just, as you were reading that, I was thinking about all of pro sports that are going to overlap with this spring season. Of course, you've got baseball starting in April. You've got
NBA, NHL in their playoffs.
And finals. And the Indianapolis 500 is usually scheduled around the end of May, but that would be after the playoffs.
Yep, some other major sporting events.
But, how is that going to, what's the fallout going to be from overlapping different sports, which try to stay away from each other?
Well, there certainly would be for one spring period of a couple months, 3 months, 2.5 months. I don't exactly 8 weeks, I guess. There'd be quite a bit of overlap because you're probably looking at certainly March Madness would be during that time.
Yep.
The Masters in golf might be in there, the first major of the year. All your NFL combine and draft and those kinds of things would be in there. And as we mentioned, the NBA playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs in hockey, in addition to all your college spring sports would be happening at that same time as well. So the College World Series, the College World Series wouldn't be at that point yet, but your regular season games. So it would be interesting to see how, and of course a big part of college athletics anymore is the television revenue. And boy, you could have sports just all over the landscape, and there might be a real ESPN 8.
Yeah,
because they'll need it to show all the different sports going on.
Contracts are signed for like 10 years out,
right?
And so there's going to have to be some adjustment to television rights. Who's going to be broadcasting what game in what sport?
Sure.
And not just college, but also professional.
Well, yeah. I mean, you would think that these college football games would be on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. So, what are the network's responsibilities to show those games? And then what would the network's how would that conflict with, some of their other coverages that they're contractually supposed to do? It'd be interesting to see. And
of course, with college football pretty much being canceled for this fall, the NFL is talking about having Saturday games.
Yes.
And taking up that spot.
Sure.
Which that's probably a good move because they can spread those games out where you can see more games over the course of the weekend.
Right. As opposed to, what we normally see here we see maybe 2 games at 1 o'clock and 1 at 4, or 1 game at 1 o'clock and
8 o'clock game,
and an evening game, and then a Monday night game and a Thursday game. So, at best we probably get to see 5 of the 16 games on TV. Well, we might be able to almost double that if they showed 2 or 3 games on a Saturday.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
And maybe you would even have a Friday night game if high school football doesn't go, or in many states around the country, the NFL would probably be not as hesitant to play even a Friday night game. Yeah. I know colleges have gone to that, and that's caused some level of anger among the high school football crowd across the nation that colleges, want to play on Friday nights. And I know there was a whole movement that, Friday night lights are for high school football in a lot of states.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Interesting.
Yes. Yes. So hopefully, by next week, the plan that's being rumored that's developing with the NFL's kind of blessing, we'll have a little more details to that.
I'm hoping, yes.
Yes. I am hoping as well, Pat.
All right. You're inside the cave this morning. John Roberts and Pat Hayes. Call us on the studio line if you'd like to talk sports. It's 517-265-4000, the number to call. And we're talking on our first hour about Diamond League action. And we certainly have a crucial game coming up tomorrow at 2 o'clock here on 96.5. And that is going to be the Morenci versus Hudson game. That is for championship possibilities by either of these teams. A must-win for both teams if they want to make the playoffs.
Yes. Well, I would say if Morenci doesn't win, they will not make the playoffs.
Right.
Because they will lose out on that division to Madison, who's a half game ahead of them right now because they won their game last night. And so Madison sits at 5-3, and Morenci is at 4-3. So they need to win to keep pace with Madison, and then we would have to take a look at our tiebreakers to determine the champion in that division.
To sit down Saturday afternoon and figure that out.
No kidding. Emergency cave staff meeting to set the playoff field. We could do like the NCAA does for March Madness. We could have a selection show.
There we go.
We'll talk.
The number 1 seed for virtual Diamond League play is...
That would be something. That would be something.
Something for next year, maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
We have to go through this.
Big production. Yeah. Big production.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break here. We'll be right back with more. We still got about 20 minutes left. Give us a call if you'd like to talk sports with us.
96.5 The Cave. Sports for Lenawee County.
Everybody huddle up. Here's the play. If you wear any kind of screen-printed item, go to ProMed Uniform and get your company logo, school spirit wear, fundraiser events, family reunions, any screen printing needs. If you need custom embroidery, go to ProMed Uniform and get your varsity jacket, company logo, corporate apparel, or just that special embroidered item. Score! Let's repeat that play. Nobody can beat it. ProMed Uniform is Lenawee County's premier embroidery and screen printing destination. All screen printing and embroidery is done in-house. ProMed Uniform is where quality work and the best pricing in Lenawee County come together. Please support local businesses and shop ProMed Uniform for all your screen printing and embroidering needs. T-shirts, varsity jackets, corporate apparel, screen printing, embroidery. ProMed Uniform, 937 West Beecher in Adrian.
What are you noticing when you look around your home? Hi, this is Sherry Hall with Carpet on Wheels. By using our Design Center, we will assist you in making simple changes that will breathe new life into your surroundings. Sometimes just adding different accent colors or textures will do it. At Carpet on Wheels, you'll find both area rugs and blinds that can achieve your goals. So stop in to see us in downtown Tecumseh. For the quality you need and the service you deserve, only at Carpet on Wheels.
At DNP Communications, we value our community partnerships by ensuring when you work with us, you'll have the means to operate your business at peak functionality. Now, for a limited time, new customers can take advantage of our summer business bundle and get 175 meg internet connection paired with one business class phone line for $124.95 per month. DNP Communications, connecting you to what matters most.
Homeschooling means more than learning at home. It means you, the parent, are the teacher, pick the curriculum, and report to the state. When you enroll your K-12 students in Tecumseh Virtual Academy, you are assured classes are aligned with state requirements and your child is supported by TPS staff members. The TVA gives students the flexibility to learn anywhere, anytime, and at their ability level. With equipment and our experienced support staff provided, we invite you to contact Tecumseh Virtual Academy to explore your students' options. Go to TVA Tecumseh online or find our link on WLEN.com.
Long Motor Sales in Tecumseh is asking for your help. Please do your part and wear a face mask while you are in public spaces. Do it for the kids, if not for yourself. We want our kids to be able to go back to school this fall. A friendly reminder that you can shop Long's current inventory online at longmotorsales.net.
New to the lot this week at Long Motor Sales. It's a black 2009 Chevy Trailblazer. This spacious SUV is the perfect affordable family car, loaded with four-wheel drive, a towing package, and plenty of space for travel. Priced just right at $6,495. Stop in and tell Eric you want to take this car for a ride today.
If your vehicle needs an oil change or a major overhaul or repair, take it to Long's Automotive Service. Nathan Long has over 15 years of experience as a certified technician, giving you dealership quality service at a low price. Long Motor Sales and Long Automotive Service in Tecumseh. Long, a name you know and trust.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Lenawee County, Michigan. Sports Talk Radio with a local angle on Inside the Cave. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. on 96.5 FM. We give opinions and analysis on what's happening in the world of sports. Interview area coaches and players. And get you ready to start your day.
Sweet, man.
Grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass because it's time to go Inside the Cave. Weekday mornings 7 to 9 on 96.5 The Cave and 965thecave.com.
And you're back inside the cave. Boy, this has been a fast morning here, John.
Fast, quick.
We have gone through things like crazy here. But we'd love to talk to you. Give us a call, 265-4000 on the studio line. We're talking football and just thinking about Monday Night Football. And they've shaken things up a little bit again this year. Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland are out of the broadcast booth. The new commentators are Steve Levy, of course we know him from ESPN, Brian Griese, former U of M player and pro player, and former pro player Louis Riddick in the booth this year.
Yeah, so a different set of voices. Steve Levy has done a lot of hockey for ESPN over the years, and among other things. But so I think he'll probably do. I'm assuming he'll be the play-by-play guy in that group, and the other two will be the analysts. Having
of course,
been
Brian Griese has done a lot of college football.
Yes.
And Riddick, a former player, he probably brings some good stuff to the show.
And I think he was also in the front office of after he was done playing for some team. I want to say the Redskins or the Washington football team, as they are now known. But I could be wrong on that. But I'm pretty sure he was with some team in their front office as a scout or director of scouting or something like that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he got out of all the stress and traded that in for the bright lights of television.
There you go. Lisa Salter will be the sideline reporter, and the studio host will be Susie Kolber. I like her.
Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah.
And the studio analyst will be Steve Young, Randy Moss, and Adam Schefter.
Okay, so some of the
there.
same crew there, or
But I know Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland, they took a lot of grief last year. They just didn't measure up, I guess, to what most people thought of Monday Night Football. The ratings went way down, and so they were almost forced to
make some changes. Yeah. And obviously announcers are subject to people's tastes.
Exactly.
And not everyone is everyone's cup of tea, so to speak. So it will be interesting. I think they'll it's probably with a show like Monday Night Football a good idea to change up the cast every now and then.
Sure.
I mean, it gets stale and
of course, I remember back when Howard Cosell was in the booth. Danny Don Meredith.
Frank Gifford.
Boy, he was one of the best broadcasters. I really liked Frank. And he did a great job.
Well, and then I think there for a while they brought in, I think Alex Karras did a brief stint on there. And, some other former players made their way. Maybe O.J. Simpson was on there for a little bit.
You're right.
So I think you just get, probably especially with former players, they get to a point where the audience doesn't remember them as a former player, and so therefore they maybe replace that person or reassign that person. And we've seen quite a change on Monday Night Football over the years.
And of course, football in general, namely professional football, it's going to be interesting to see when they start playing what COVID-19 will do or not do during the course of the season and how they're going to handle it.
Well, one thing it's already done is we're not talking about preseason games.
Right.
And normally...
Which I think is a good thing.
I think totally eliminating I'm not a fan of, but I think certainly reducing from 4 to 2 was a good look, because I do feel for those guys that are trying to, the 50th man on a 53-man team doesn't have any game tape to help the coaches make that decision. For the starting quarterback, probably,
Well, we got a call coming in here on the studio line, so let's take that call here. Hello, caller. Are you with us? Here we go. Let's try this. Hello, caller. Are you there? Hello, caller. Yeah, we lost him.
Please try and call back.
Yeah, for sure.
Love to hear your thoughts on our discussion. That's for sure. But as I was saying, and you're going to keep an eye on the light while I talk.
Exactly.
I think for your starting quarterback, they don't necessarily need that preseason maybe as much as some of the other players. But, maybe some timing with the receivers. But a lot of that happens in practice scrimmages now between the offense and the defense. And so I think cutting it in half was a good move from 4 to 2. But I hate to see him gone altogether. And I do miss the Hall of Fame game, because that always seemed like that was the real start of pro football.
I liked it back when it was the college and the professionals getting together.
I a little bit younger than you, Pat, but I do remember those games. They used to play at Soldier Field, if I remember correctly,
yes.
every year.
Yep. And then they switched it to Canton and home of the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And then that was just professional teams. There's probably a liability issue there.
I would guess, and again, those college players, many of them were trying to make NFL rosters, so to get hurt in that game right before they would go to training camp probably didn't, as the money, and of course a lot of it's driven by the money. As players began to make more money, probably made less and less sense to risk that money playing in an exhibition game like that. But even the NFL, they used to have more than 4 exhibition games at one point. There were like 6 exhibition games.
Really? I don't remember.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember that, but I heard somebody talking about it on one of the talk shows, and that was a former player, and said, yeah, we used to play 6 exhibition games. I'm like, holy cow.
Wow, that's almost a regular season.
Well, and probably back when the regular season was fewer games, they did that. But I think 2 would be about perfect. Because it'd be almost like high schools having 2 scrimmages before. So it'd be about perfect. Everybody gets some game action to get their body acclimated to that hitting again. The timing of the offense, would get worked on at game speed. And but yeah, 4 for a while now has seemed like way too many.
It seems like the last couple of years, when they are in their spring training mode, a couple of NFL teams will get together and they'll scrimmage.
Sure.
And get some live action on both ends of the line of scrimmage.
And that even filtered down to the high school level. There were high schools that would practice together to the point where the MHSAA had to come in and say, hey, that counts as a scrimmage if you compete in practice live action with another school. So they went to, I think high school football teams are back to being able to have 2 scrimmages, but not this year. There's no scrimmages this year. But in last year, I believe it was you could have 2, but they only one had to be just you and another team, and it was limited to how much time you could do it for or something like that. I forget what the rule change was, but yeah.
But right now high schools are practicing, and they're not in pads yet, though, right?
No, this first week they were just in helmets and T-shirt and shorts, and Next week will be the padded up week. I don't know if they're doing the phase in again this year where it's 2 days in helmets and shoulder pads, and then before you can go to full pads. And then the 20th, August 20th, we're expecting an update from the MHSAA on fall sports and sports in general for the year.
What's your gut feeling?
Well, I know they've come out and said that, college canceling football or delaying football, postponing football doesn't mean that impacts high school football in Michigan. And there's probably a good deal of truth in their minds to that statement. I would think it's going to impact it some. I don't know. I don't know if they'll say we're going to move football to the spring like the Big Ten did, or fall sports to the spring like the Big Ten did. I have some interesting conversations with friends that are coaches still at the high school level and former coaches. And, we talked about, well, what sports could probably happen without any issues this fall? Certainly girls golf. That seems like one where you're isolated.
Sure.
There's no contact, and very rarely even are there spectators. Because most of the matches start during the school day. You might get an occasional mom or dad that goes out and walks the course, because that's the thing. You have to walk the course. You're not riding around in a golf cart. So that you'd have to really like to walk 18 holes or 9 holes, depending on what the match is. So golf could probably happen. Tennis, boys tennis, which is in the fall. There are ways that you could never, even I've seen a lot of tennis teams go to where they tap rackets at the end of the match instead of shake hands. And there's fist bumps and all that kind of stuff. But there's very little close-up contact between the players during a tennis match. Now, doubles match, well, that'd be your own teammate on your side of the net. So tennis probably could happen pretty much with the ones that obviously cause concern are football because of the contact aspect, volleyball because of the close play at the net, soccer because of the jostling on the field, and then the one that some people have more concern about than others that's a fall sport is cross country because of the mass of runners at the start. And then swimming, you're in a pool, you're indoors. You could run it with limited or no spectators, probably. Mm-hmm. So it just depends how flexible people are willing to be to have these sports, really. It could go either way.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to find out on the 20th.
Yes.
All right. John, thank you very much for being with me this morning.
Yes, you as well, Pat.
John Roberts, Pat Hayes saying have a great weekend, and we'll be back here on Monday. I think John and Jeff will be back here on Monday.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
All right. And we'll see you next week inside the cave.
I'm Stan the Man, I am, and I have to say it feels quite warm outside today. But summer thunderstorms are now the norm, and older roofs can spring leaks. Pesky roof leaks can creep and seep and make your walls and ceilings weep. Flat roofs are steep. The cats in the blue hats at Diversified Roofing can fix that straight away. Call 1-800-668-1928 today and we'll make those leaks all go away. With Diversified's fair rates, rebates, and financing that's great, that's 1-800-668-1928. You won't get taken for a ride when you call Diversified. We're Master Elite certified and GAF roofing that's tried and true. We're state licensed and fully insured too. Your roof's installed professionally with honesty and pride when you call Diversified at 1-800-668-1928. Here's our website too for you. For Stan the Man and the cats in the blue hats, that's DiversifiedRoofingLLC.com. Again, that's DiversifiedRoofingLLC.com.
Concerned about what's in your food for your reptiles or fish? At Red Mill Pet Supplies, we research where our food comes from, so you don't have to. Our large, healthy adult crickets are always brought in from a good source and are stored in a clean environment. We also stock regular and giant-sized mealworms. For your small animals, fish, reptiles, and birds, all your pets need for a healthier, happier life can be found at 1111 West Chicago Boulevard, across from McDonald's in Tecumseh, and on Facebook at Red Mill Pet Supplies.
With our 8-year track record of teaching success through Tecumseh Virtual Academy, we are prepared to educate your students. Hundreds of students have taken core subjects and AP classes and gone on to graduate while participating in the TVA Dynamic Learning Community. This year, crossover options are available for in-class and online learning. With equipment and our experienced support staff provided, we invite you to contact Tecumseh Virtual Academy to explore your students' options. Go to TVA Tecumseh online or find our link on WLEN.com.
Is your vehicle so dirty that little kids are writing wash me notes on it?
My hands are all dirty.
Is your wife ashamed to ride with you?
Let's take my car.
Is your vehicle so dirty that it looks like it's a different color?
I thought your car was white.
Then it's time to go to Sudsy Does a Car Wash. We know you want your car to look great, so try Sudsy Does a Car Wash in Tecumseh.
Sudsy Does a Car Wash, Gary's Quick Lube too.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Lenawee County, Michigan. Sports Talk Radio with a local angle on Inside the Cave. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. on 96.5 FM. We give opinions and analysis on what's happening in the world of sports. Interview area coaches and players. And get you ready to start your day.
Sweet, man.
Grab a flashlight, hiking boots, and a compass because it's time to go Inside the Cave. Weekday mornings 7 to 9 on 96.5 The Cave and 965thecave.com.
The best in regional sports from Southeast Michigan. WLEN Adrian, HD2, W243AD, 96.5 The Cave.